I do not believe a reminder is necessary for this accused. Her capture and disgrace could not have been more public. Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon, although her titles are among the dignities already at risk of forfeiture. You spared her life despite her treachery. What becomes of it now falls to you.
Empress Celine left her fate to me? Interesting.
Despite her posture, Lady Floriane has acknowledged your authority.
Should I curse you on behalf of the Elder One? I realize he had no intention of honoring the concordats I manipulated. Do as you must. I respect your mastery of the game, even as I despise your victory. Celine does not know her fortune.
She remains a creature of formality and opportunity. We have use for both. Grand Duchess, Josephine will see that your wiles profit the Inquisition. Don't disappoint.
Oh, one must remember that the game is never truly over, your worship.
With the Civil War over, Orlais is focusing on rebuilding. Inquisitor? Inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
Another letter for Master Tethras? Bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
They've already begun composing songs about it in Val Royale, no doubt. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The Empress realized she was in danger.
She's always in danger. Those loyal to her should have practiced more vigilance. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime. I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus of Tevinter and King Marcus of Nevada. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
I assume that means they both want something very badly from us.
You're quite correct. Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy a venatory cult on the Nevaran-Tevinter border. King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevara instead of Tevinter.
What course of action would you take if you were in my place?
Strained as their relationship with Orle is, I would assist the Imperium. Their friendship is difficult to win, and Marcus is a fading power. Tevinter is the longer, richer gain.
What sort of man is the King of Navarra?
At this point, elderly. Many fear his health will soon fail him. Still, he is a Pentagast. Their dynasty is exceptionally strong in Navarra.
As a Pentagast, will Cassandra be upset if we don't help her relatives?
With all respect to Sigar Pentagast, her interest in politics is best described as thin.
Why is the ruler of Tevinter turning on the Venatori?
He has little reason to love them. Archon Redanus has rightly identified Corypheus as competition. Few monarchs relish a self-styled god showing up to claim their throne.
Tell me about Redanus.
Like most Tevinter rulers, he's heir to an ancient bloodline, politically shrewd, and a highly skilled mage. Rumor also claims he has an incredibly soft spot for cats.
I actually have relatives in Navarra. If you reason with the Archon, the Trevellians can persuade King Marcus we should help both countries.
Letting the Inquisition curry favor with both Tevinter and Nevada. Most ideal. A pleasure.
What do the people make of us?
There's scarcely a noble house that hasn't openly pledged its support to us.
Any thoughts on the people here?
Who did you mean?
Let's speak later.
We'll speak later then.
where a smith should be. I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Thanks, Varric.
No problem.
Stone met, Inquisitor.
Do you have insight into the stories these tiles are supposed to depict?
Tell you what, you finish one, and I'll write it up. Who better, right? A good dwarven perspective.
Another time.
Best of the vein, Inquisitor.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Sharal, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
Even if we couldn't help Briala, I hope we can make life better for Orlesian elves.
Stop Corypheus. That will do for a start. It speaks well of you to feel for the oppressed. Help them for that. Know them for what they are, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears. Good afternoon.
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elven culture.
Perhaps you could ask Sarah. She has opinions.
You don't much care for Sarah, do you?
I pity her. Although I imagine she would detest that. Perhaps in truth, I envy her. She has a purity of purpose that I lack. I have observed too much and done too little. What do you wish to know?
Is elven magic different from the magic used by humans?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Dalish magic is more practical, not needing chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition. Much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
The legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Devinter disapproves of it. But as I said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
To be honest, I don't see it as different from any other magic. It's a means to an end.
Indeed. The problem is that under the Chantry, blood magic is forbidden, so only criminals practice it. While in Tevinter, magisters compete with each other, instead of keeping their volatile friends in check. They always succeed through power, so they have never had the chance to learn another way.
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Hallam Shiral. But Hallam Shiral was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the Empire, and Arlathan its greatest city. Place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
You've studied ancient elves. What else do you know of Arlathan?
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish Erebels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing. That is what was lost.
I'd like to know more about the Dalish elves.
It is a mistake to think of the Dalish as a single group. They have lived as separate clans for centuries now. As a consequence, each clan has learned, interpreted, and forgotten different parts of elven history. Some trade freely with humans, or adopt city elves who flee the alienages. Others attack humans on sight.
What can you tell me about elves living in human cities?
The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Tevinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past, and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye. My friend.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No. Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
I do rather like watching you leave.
Greetings again, Inquisitor. I trust everything is well with the mages.
There have been a few scuffles with your Templars, but overall, it is going well. Another time, then.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivian. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but you won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success. Inquisitor, what can I do for you, darling?
can't make heads or tails of this. Age regression, who is this potion for?
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
Is there anything I should know?
My senior officers report that the soldiers are in good spirits. Having the Imperial Army as an ally has bolstered their confidence. The Orlesian military is highly regarded. Of course, I'd wager our own recruits are equal to any Chevalier.
That's all for now.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
What did you think of the masks?
What masks?
The masks. Everyone had them on their faces.
Those weren't their faces.
I'll talk to you later.
If you like.
How much did you need?
One for the Empress. For Gaspar. Brianna. The Duchess.
And crucifix! Right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a butt for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. You want to stop a party? I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an empress. That, and Briala being an idiot. The whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots.
To hear it.
Back, yeah? Always good.
I'll be back if I need you.
Go on.
And how much did you need?
Thank you.
Inquisitor!
Inquisitor.
We can do, just ask.
That's all that came. I'm sorry.
Tell your quartermaster boss it was a special order.
I did, I'm just saying what he said.
I know, lad.
Fine day to you. I'll say, I suppose you're right.
It's good to see you.
Inquisitor?
We'll talk later.
You know I've got no problem with Orlesians, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
I hate politics.
You've got a crappy job then, boss.
Very well.
This is amazing! Convincing the Keeper took work, but I'm so glad you managed.
Will
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was hilarious. That's what they'll say one day, you watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because they don't know what you are, and they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you of all people say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
If you're concerned, then make it better.
Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
So this is your new crusade?
I've agreed to nothing yet.
And if the Chantry calls on you?
Then I will do whatever I can, for as long as I can. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
My maker, you cannot imagine how many letters I've received about the fracas at Halam Shiral. Fortunately, you tied twice as many threads as cut, although it is yet bewildering at the center.
There are problems coming out of Halam Shiral.
There are always problems from Halam Shiral. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
With Skyhold shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
As you were.
We are here for you, Inquisitor. Of course. Another time.
Oh, Grey Warden, what have you done? The oath you have taken is all but
Hey. What's been going on?
Not much. Usual. Nice of you to ask.
I should go.
Want a drink? I've a hankering for company. When I was a boy, there were these urchins who roamed the streets near my father's house. One day, they found a dog. A wretched little thing. It came to them for food. They caught it, tied a rope around its neck, and strung it up. Do you know what I did?
You stopped them? Cut the dog down?
I did nothing. Not a damn thing. It was crying. I saw the kicking legs, the neck straining and twisting. And I turned around, went inside, and closed the door. I could have told my father, or alerted someone. I didn't. I just pretended it wasn't happening.
You said you were just a boy.
I was old enough to know the dog was suffering and that it was wrong. I may as well have tied the noose myself. We could make the world better. It's just easier to shut our eyes.
Nothing worth doing is easy.
Look at you. You would have done the right thing. We're lucky there are people like you in the world. There's always some dog out there. Some fucking mongrel that doesn't know how to stay away.
Might be something here. Better take a closer look.
The Spy Master has confirmed it. Blackwall is gone.
Go on. Leliana knows where he is, doesn't she? She knows everything.
She doesn't know everything, yet. Sister Leliana had us search the Warden's quarters. Not much to find, except this. It was missing from last week's reports. I don't know what Blackwall's interest in this particular matter is, but it could be a good place to start.
"'Tis a large fortress, Inquisitor. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit. Occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased."
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarar Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
We were lucky to have found it when we did.
Fate is often mistaken for luck, as Mother is fond of saying. The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Soldiers are camped outside Skyhold in numbers that would give any nation pause. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
You seem to know a great deal about Elven lore.
The Dalish are not the only ones interested in the distant past, Inquisitor. Indeed, my skills allow me access to places the Dalish dare not even dream of. The ancient elves hold secrets they have not yet given up. Secrets about the foundation of Thedas itself. Thus, they are my focus. Corypheus clearly feels the same.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Kukari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. We did not part on good terms. I regret a great deal, but that, most of all. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
I'll leave you to the garden.
Until next time, then.
Inquisitor?
Farewell, revered mother.
Farewell.
You seemed to enjoy yourself at the Winter Palace, Liliana. Or was that part of the game?
Perhaps it was both.
I don't have a concern about this, Corypheus or what have you. The right hand... In the Inquisition.
Cyril Mornay, for your crimes against the Empire of Orlais. For the murders of General Vincent Callier, Lady Laurette Callier, their 4 children, and their retainers. You are sentenced to be hanged from the neck until dead. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Very well.
Well, this is grim.
Look at all these people. I thought we were more civilized than this.
Proceed.
Stop!
A Grey Warden.
This man is innocent of the crimes laid before him. Orders were given and he followed them like any good soldier. He should not die for that mistake.
Then find me the man who gave the order.
Oh, shit.
Blackwall!
No, I am not Blackwall. I never was Blackwall. Warden Blackwall is dead, and has been for years. I assumed his name to hide like a coward from who I really am.
You, after all this time.
It's over. I'm done hiding. I gave the order. The crime is mine. I am Tom Rainier.
Can you believe it? Tom Rainier himself.
You must know something about Rainier.
I know what everyone knows. He'll hang for the massacre of a noble and his family.
Where did they take the prisoner?
In the jail of the marketplace. If you've goodbyes to say them now. It's a damned mess, but believe you me, it'll be sorted out quick. Lots of people can't wait to see that man swing. Guess not.
No doubt. Captain Tom Rainier.
He wore the shield.
That is concerning, yes.
Concerning? He's a butcher.
Smile upon me.
Monsieur?
Welcome.
I didn't take Blackwall's life. I traded his death. He wanted me for the Wardens, but there was an ambush. Darkspawn. He was killed. I took his name to stop the world from losing a good man. But a good man, the man he was, wouldn't have let another die in his place.
Was the bailiff telling the truth? Did you really do those things?
Yes, I did. It's all true. It's time we all took a good look at who I really am. Don't you understand? I gave the order to kill Lord Callier, his entourage, and I lied to my men about what they were doing. When it came to light, I ran. Those men, my men, paid for my treason, while I was pretending to be a better man. This is what I am. A murderer, a traitor, a monster.
I know you're more than what you say. Have some faith in yourself.
Yes.
I need to know the details of what you did. Who you killed, why.
I betrayed the Empire and assassinated a general, all for gold. The man was General Vincent Callier. My employer was a Chevalier, Robert Chapuis. Sir Robert believed that Grand Duke Gaspard was the rightful ruler of Orlais and would eventually take the throne. He thought that by eliminating one of Celine's loyal supporters, he might endear himself to the true Emperor. I can't say if Robert's plan would have worked. I didn't care. There was good coin offered, and I took it. By the time Sir Robert's involvement was uncovered, I was long gone. Of course, the Grand Duke disavowed any knowledge of the act and publicly condemned it. Robert killed himself. Poison in his wine. Another victim of the great game.
You got your men to help you. What did you tell them?
They didn't know who they were attacking. I told them it was an important mission. They trusted me without question, just as your men trust you.
Our men follow me because they believe our cause is righteous.
They believe it because that's what you tell them.
My reports say that Callier was with his family. You had them all slaughtered.
I didn't know Callier would be traveling with his family. I assumed only soldiers, armed guards. My men had been told to eliminate everyone. They'd seen war. They thought they were defending their country. No one likes to think about that. But it's names that carry power in this world. Bloodlines. Heirs. No matter how leaders like Celine or Gaspard pretend the game is played, that's how real war is waged.
That shouldn't be how wars are fought. There's no need.
War is unfair, and the sky is blue. But you're right. There was no need for what I did.
There's another thing I'm still wondering.
Yes?
I need to know about Blackwall. The real Blackwall.
We met in a tavern when I was on the run. I was nothing. A waste of life. But he wanted to recruit me. We headed to Valshavan for the joining. But Blackwall insisted on making a stop along the way. An old ruin from one of the previous blights. He said it led to the deep roads. I was to go down alone, find a darkspawn, and fill a vial with its blood. When I returned, I found the warden ambushed by more of the creatures. He took a blow for me. He shouldn't have died. It should have been me.
Not saying I disagree, but Blackwall clearly thought you were worth saving.
No one should have died for me. He would have wanted me to carry on to Valshavan, I'm certain. But without Blackwall, there's no proof that I've been recruited. That I didn't kill him. I couldn't go to the Wardens. But I couldn't just walk away. So, Rainier died. And Blackwall lived.
Who were you before this mess?
I was a captain in the Orlesian army. Well regarded, respected. But it wasn't enough. One mistake. One mistake and everything I worked for fell apart.
The man on the gallows, Mornay. Who was he?
My second in command. He was a good man. When I heard he'd been caught, I was resolved to stop his execution. Couldn't let another die for my mistake.
That's all for now.
I have Liliana's report on Tom Rainier.
Give me the overview.
Looks like our friend was once a respected captain in the Imperial Orlesian army. Before the Civil War, he was turned, persuaded to assassinate one of Celine's biggest supporters. He led a group of fiercely loyal men on this mission, and told them nothing of it. His men took the fall for him. A few lucky ones, like Mornay, managed to escape.
Let me guess. Our spy master had this lying around somewhere, didn't she?
It would have been difficult for anyone to connect Blackwall to Rainier. Even Liliana has something of a blind spot when it comes to wardens. What do we do now? Blackwall... Rainier has accepted his fate, but you don't have to. We have resources. If he's released to us, you may pass judgment on him yourself.
If it were up to you, what would happen?
What he did to the men under his command was unacceptable. He betrayed their trust, betrayed ours. I despise him for it. And yet he fought as a warden, joined the Inquisition, gave his blood for our cause. And the moment he shakes off his past, he turns around and owns up to it. Why?
Some part of you is impressed by what he did, isn't it?
Saving Mornay the way he did took courage, I'll give him that. But I can't tell you what to do.
Have Rainier released to us.
We must move quickly. We can explore our options back at Skyhold.
received word.
No mistaking an order from the Empress.
Then we are actually...
Winter's assaulted. Duchess Florian disgraced.
A shock, I agree.
A shock. This is devastating. How could you not see as much?
Regarde the charlatan. Very happy.
And I am the foil. Very serious. We begin.
Many are those who wander in sin, despairing that they are lost.
You heard about the Enchanter?
I've heard absolutely nothing while she's in the market. We reached the climax.
Not just us.
Yes?
Let's speak later.
Goodbye. For judgment this day, Inquisitor, I must present Captain Tom Rainier, formerly known to us as Warden Blackwall. His crimes... well, you are aware of his crimes. It was no small expense to bring him here, but the decision of what to do with him is now yours.
I didn't think this would be easy, but it's harder than I thought.
Another thing to regret. Your soldiers took control of the prison. Some of the guards were killed. Men just doing their jobs. A waste of life.
I really think you've lost the right to judge anyone.
There's enough evil in the world because of me. I accepted my punishment. I was ready for all this to end. Why would you stop it? What becomes of me now?
You have your freedom.
It cannot be as simple as that.
It isn't. You're free to atone as the man you are, not the traitor you thought you were, or the warden you pretended to be.
The man I am. I barely know him. But I have a lot to make up for. If my future is mine, then I pledge it to the Inquisition. My sword is yours. If I'd said anything less, would an arrow from the rookery have snuffed me like a candle?
Take your post, Tom Rainier.
What can I do for you, your inquisitorialness?
Carry on.
My friend. Goodbye.
What can I do for you, my dear? Is it too much to hope that you've brought me the heart of the snowy wyvern?
If you want the wyvern's heart, you'll have to tell me what you're using it for.
I can do better, darling. Give me the heart, and I'll show you what it's for. Will that suffice?
All right. One heart, as requested.
How kind of you. Please accept this as your payment. I must begin work immediately. You have been a dear friend, and I would like you to come with me. This should only take a moment, Inquisitor. I'm here, my darling.
Vivienne,
Yes, darling.
it's going to be all right, my love.
My darling? Bastien?
Vivian, I'm sorry.
There's nothing here now. Bastien is dead. I can hardly believe. It was the Wintersend Ball. My first visit to the Imperial Palace. The Circle sent a dozen of us to entertain the nobility. I was in awe of everyone and everything, and then our eyes met. Bastien spent the entire ball at my side. The Dowager tried to have him killed for slighting her, but he didn't care.
Falling in love across a crowded ballroom. Sounds like something out of a children's story.
He was a dashing rogue, and any defects he might have had were made up for with rank and importance. It was a more innocent time, I suppose. And now he's gone, and I must write to his son Laurent. And his sister will make a terrible fuss if she isn't informed first. And I'll need to arrange for the chantry services. Maker only knows how long that will take.
If I can help you, just say the word.
No, my dear. I'll handle everything. Excuse me, I have so much to do. Inquisitor, what can I do for you, darling?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Why don't you tell me more about your Duke?
Bastien was the leader of the Council of Heralds. The only person who could bring that rabble into line. He could charm a bird out of its feathers, and frequently did. I remember once, he broke up a fight between Prosper de Montfort and the Dowager with a joke and a glass of wine. Oh, Bastien. I'm sorry, my dear. I don't think I can discuss this.
Inquisitor?
Inquisitor?
How shall I refer to you? Rainier or Blackwall?
I've gotten used to Blackwall. Perhaps we could treat it as less of a name and more of a title. Almost like Inquisitor. Reminds me of what I ought to be.
Everyone needs something to aspire to.
Exactly. I'm glad you understand.
Is there anything you actually know about the Wardens? Or did you make it all up?
I I made very little up. I also feared you knew enough to contradict me. Warden Blackwall told me a bit before my initiation, but it is a secretive order. Not even the most senior wardens know all there is to know.
Now we know why you were never worried about Corypheus's calling.
Yes. I have none of the Warden's abilities and none of the drawbacks. Still, I would have fought through the darkest pits of the deep roads like any true Warden. There's more to it than being able to sense darkspawn. Warden Blackwall would have agreed.
The Wardens at Adamant listened to you. They saw you as one of their own.
Perhaps it takes an outsider to show how much of yourself you've lost. I never understood the reality of being a Warden. I only saw the ideal. I suppose I reminded them of something they'd forgotten.
You have a lot of respect for the Wardens.
They take all men, from the most noble to the most despicable, and make them equals. I needed to believe something like that was possible.
Why did Blackwall want to recruit you?
He never told me. I don't know what he saw that day besides some wreck starting a bar fight. That night, I taught some village militia a painful lesson about harassing the tavern girl. Didn't know I had an audience.
Did you start a fight while drunk?
Make her know. I wasn't drunk, but I was trying to get there. Told the girl to keep the wine coming. She couldn't, not with those louts bothering her. Something had to be done.
We'll continue this another time.
Maker and Lady. Corypheus is taking the lot of them apart.
The Inquisition is on its tail. That thing is a coward, even if it's lots of places.
Wardens and Hallam Sharal? They're supposed to be our best. That's what they always said.
That's what the nobles say. Wardens don't say anything. They just go to work.
A lot of good it did them.
It's Taven's party.
The one after Elfie history? Figures. That's a bunch of dead all the way back.
Looks like they tried to fight back, but most were unarmed. Poor buggers. Never stood a chance.
There should be Inquisition soldiers here. These are our men.
More fellow countrymen. We should say hello.
Search them. Maybe we can figure out what they were after.
Even in ruins, this is quite the place.
Elfie stuff is always a ruin. Wonder why that is. Oh, right.
Should we look around?
These are our men.
Baddies, yeah? We know how to deal with them.
We'll need to look around.
This is it. Whatever Taven hoped to find, it's here. An account of Red Crossing. When the elves attacked that town, it prompted the exalted march of the Dales.
We should give this to the Dalish. They have a claim to it.
I imagine the Chantry would be interested in it as well.
Nothing to report, sir.
It's good to see you again.
I found something about Red Crossing in Danan Hanin.
If you went to the Emerald Graves, did you see Tavin and the others?
They were killed. I'm sorry.
I am too. Sorry, but not surprised. Thank you for bringing this to me. It is part of our tale and will be cherished. May your gods watch over you, friend.
I will never forget what you've done.
Nothing to report, sir.
Certain we were facing downwind, my dear.
Inquisitor.
Scout Harding.
We're on the outskirts of Sarnia. This is what's left of the town. The lucky ones got out before the river froze over. The rest, penned in by Fade Rifts and Red Templars. We're the first friendly face they've seen in a long, long while.
How did an entire river freeze so quickly?
It got really cold, really quickly. Sarnia relies on its river for everything. Trade, food. They weren't expecting this.
I should look in on the townsfolk, see what they can tell me.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it. The Red Templars have been mounting frequent attacks. They want Emprise de Lyon. Bad. Let's get out there and take it back from them.
Inquisitor, if you have a moment.
What is it?
This could help us.
Country burns their dead, right? Hard to get a fire going in this weather.
Oh, how could you have dropped it? Foolish, clumsy girl. Mama trusted the ring to you when she died. Now the Templars will get it back, Templars. Demons with trusted faces. They'll find the small blue house, they'll find the ring. Stupid girl, how could you? No, I dropped it. It's gone. Gone.
Inquisitor?
Inquisitor.
I have requests for information on your lineage from a few interested parties at the Winter Palace.
Andraste preserve me. Feel free to use those requests as kindling.
No, I shall take them. I want to know who pines for our commander. We can use this to our advantage.
I am not bait.
Hush. Just look pretty. At your service.